Welcome. This is the Rip Griffin Show podcast, a baseball podcast for baseball fans of all ages. Now, here's your host, Rip Griffin.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Rip Griffin Show, episode number 50 in the books tonight. And today I've got my good buddy Brad Shanler joining me from the Nest baseball blogger. Brad, man, how's it going?
It is going, man, and I am digging the new intro, bro.
You like that? That was pretty sweet. I didn't know how it was going to come out when we actually, started the live show, but seeing that on the screen it gives me goosebumps, man. I'm all excited now because that was awesome.
Yeah, that was cool, man. It's a lot better than the little countdown thing that we've been doing for the past few weeks.
No, I completely understand it. That was just something just to kind of set the tone, but then you got this intro that's got the graphics and it's got the baseball spinning and you've got Comerica Park in the background. Shout out to all Tigers fans. So that is awesome. I'm excited. Like I said, dude, I got goosebumps right now, man.
Hey, like I said, it's a lot better than the little countdown, man. So, we gonna talk some World Series baseball or what?
We are going to talk some World Series baseball because it happened. We had a World Series. We had a baseball season, and
I can't believe that 2020, that the baseball season for 2020 is already over. I miss baseball already.
I know, and it's only been 24 hours.
It's been less than 24 hours, man.
So 24 hours since the game started.
There you go. There
we go. Kind of.
We're already starting to count down to pitchers and catchers, man.
155 days.
That's 155 until the beginning of the season.
Oh, I saw.
I think it's 110 days for pitchers and catchers.
That's right, because they do report earlier than the rest of the team. So yeah, we got 110 days before pitchers and catchers report to Arizona and Florida. And
I am so excited already. I'm going to just start counting down the days.
Right? Start marking them off on the calendar, man. Oh, dude, I'm excited. I can't wait for 2021 to get here. And so we can see who's going where, who's going to be in the postseason, who's going to, whatever it is, who's going to be there. Baseball.
There's already talks about people who have been that they didn't have their contract, extended, or their options weren't picked up and things like that. You got people like Colton Wong who are hitting free agency.
Yep.
You've got other people that are hitting free agency. But, dude, we just finished a World Series.
I know. In 6 games, and you called it.
I did? Did I say 6?
You did.
Because I definitely said 5. I definitely said 5 on another.
Hold on. Let me check my notes here. Let's see. Rays, Dodgers, 7. Dodgers 5. Oh, I had it in 6 games. I think
there you go.
5.
Yeah, I had Dodgers in 5, and I called that on both podcasts. And I made sure that I kept it true. And that's why when you said 6, I was like, I don't remember saying 6. But dude, congratulations. I mean, I remember you talking about your original brackets, and you were having the White Sox go all the way, and that got smashed.
Man, my bracket got busted on the wild card series. Then I just gotta go and have fun with it for the rest of the postseason. So but 6 games, and that's the thing about this series. It was a back and forth. We had Dodgers take game 1, Rays 2, Dodgers 3, Rays 4, Dodgers 5, and I was kind of hoping for that Rays to take game 6, so it kind of had that staggering, and then get to that game 7, but there was a lot of key issues in game 6, and we'll kind of dive into those in just a little bit, because I think there was one key scenario that changed the whole complexity of the game, because it was a back and forth. Pitching was being dominant. Maybe not so much in the earlier innings from the Dodgers standpoint, but you kind of got into the later innings. I mean, and Blake Snell, man, that dude was
You know what? I don't think you and I actually have had a chance to talk about Game 4.
No, we have not, because that was the game.
Crazy error. That was the two errors in the bottom of the ninth that ended up being where the Rays ended up winning. So, I mean, not to cut you off or anything, bro, but I think that that's something that we should actually talk about.
Okay, well, let's do it right now. Let's recap and go back to Game 4, because, I mean, that was. See, who was pitching for Tampa? I'm trying to remember who it was. That was a bullpen game, wasn't it?
I believe it was.
For both teams.
Yeah.
And obviously it showed from the offensive standpoint, because the runs were coming at such high numbers. And, you know, I was watching the game and I fell asleep. I'll be honest. I wasn't a true baseball fan and stayed up, but I fell asleep.
Not gonna lie, I fell asleep. I ended up passing out in the 5th inning. I was like so exhausted that day. I ended up passing out, and then I woke up. It was the bottom of the 8th, and I was just like, "Oh man, it's 7-6." Like, because I was rooting for the Rays, and like I didn't care who won, either side. Dodgers won, good for them. If the Rays won, good for them. But I was rooting more so for the Rays, because of the fact that the Boston Red Sox chief of baseball operations was one of the people that actually built that team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically like, hey, this is what this guy can do, and if he could do this with $72 million, imagine what he can do with $200+ million.
Exactly.
So it was Game 4. I ended up waking up. It was the bottom of the 8th. I saw the top of the 9th, and I was like, all right, well, Kenley Jensen's coming in. We know that he's got those issues, and I don't really want to say the yips, but it kind of seems like he does have the yips now.
Right.
Maybe not so much the yips, but whatever. He's turning into him, and Aroldis Chapman
yeah,
are very similar. And the fact that, they can't really close out the big games. This is the second year in a row where Aroldis Chapman has given up the big bomb to end the series. And Jensen has been struggling as a closer in tight games. And they ended up putting him in. It was a high leverage game. You had I forgot. I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name, but the Asian gentleman who came up, he struck out. Then you had Kevin Kiermaier. It wasn't Jimmy and Choi. It wasn't Jimmy and Choi.
Okay.
It starts with the T.
Hold on. Okay.
I don't want to destroy his name, so I'm not even going to try it.
Okay.
But it went from him striking out. Kiermaier hit a broken bat single.
Right.
And I want to say it was it Wendell? Wendell? I'm not 100% sure on who the next batter was, but he ended up striking out. Then Randy, who I believe should have been like the MVP regardless if Tampa lost.
Right. I know.
Randy came up and they came out to the mound. They talked to Kenley and they decided to pitch to him. They ended up walking him, which totally understandable with the way that guy's been hit, and you don't want to give him anything to actually hit. And then comes up the guy that, like, I didn't know who this guy was, and I'm not sure too many other people knew who he was, but Brett Phillips comes up to bat. Jensen throws him inside, ball one. Throws him inside, hits the corner, strike one. Then he throws outside, hits the corner, strike two. Now Phillips has got to, protect the plate. Mm-hmm. Well, Jensen ends up throwing the ball, and it hits too much of the plate, and this dude cracks the ball into center field. Obviously, Kiermaier at second, he's gonna score because he's off with the sound of the crack of the bat.
Right.
So he scores easily, but now you got Randy Arozarena coming around. He's coming around third base. He stumbles over, which not a lot of people actually ended up seeing that during the live shot. But the biggest problem with the entire play came from, I believe it was Chris Taylor, who was playing center field. He was playing left field earlier, and then he ended up going into center field. Who was it playing center field? Pollock? I believe Pollock was playing center field for most of the game. Then they had Jock Peterson come in, and put him in left field, changed Chris Taylor over to center field. He boots the ball, dude.
Yep.
Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, I'm not trying to be like a shit talker here or anything, because I'm a Red Sox fan, like diehard Red Sox fan. But imagine having Mookie Betts on your team and not putting him in center field.
Yeah,
he's your fastest outfielder out of those three. He's your best outfielder out of those three. I don't understand why, if like you're gonna put somebody in center field, why you didn't put Mookie Betts there. I understand that right field is his position, but he could play center field.
Absolutely.
He's that good of a player. If he can go from playing right field to playing second base, he can go from right field to playing center field. If Mookie was out in center field, that play, that booted ball wouldn't have happened, and they would have been playing in extra innings.
Yeah, you can probably say that's probably one of the very first mistakes that Dave Roberts made in this series was, not putting the key personnel in the positions that, even though they have, experience playing, like Mookie Betts playing the outfield, that can probably take it. I'm still kind of wondering why Cody Bellinger was DHing that game and not playing center.
So that was actually explained earlier in the game. They said that he was having some back issues, and he was able to hit. Hitting wasn't a problem, but it was playing the outfield. He had some discomfort. Okay. So they took him out. You don't want to lose that bat, so you put him in as your DH, and then there you go.
Right. Okay, that makes sense now. I must have missed that part of the game when they explained that part. So, but then you go when we talk about Kenley Jansen and that play by Phillips hits it, and the rule of thumb is, when you've got runners in scoring position and you're the pitcher, you need to cover home plate.
It is fundamentals. It is something that it's taught in Little League. So if all right, just drawing a picture for people who are listening on, like Spotify later on. The ball gets hit out in the center field. The center fielder boots it. He ends up getting it. He throws it in to Max Muncy, the first baseman. So he's in between basically where the second baseman would be and home plate. He ends up getting the ball. He throws it into who was it? Will Smith. And he goes to swipe it. Now, the problem with him backing up the catcher is the fact that no matter where he would have been, where he should have been, the ball would have never have gotten there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you remember when he went to go make that tag, the ball went off to the first base side. If Jensen was where he was supposed to be, he would have been more towards the third base side.
Okay.
Because of where Muncy was and
Right.
where he was thrown from. So, I mean, I can totally understand why people are giving him crap for it, but it's regardless of what happened, the play was it was all around bad. It was just a bad. It was a bad way for the Dodgers to lose a game. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that was made was putting Kenley Jensen in that situation. I don't believe it was his fault, but I do believe that I believe what was his name? Brusdar Graterol. He was the one that finished off the inning prior.
Yes.
And I believe he may have pitched to two batters. I'm not sure. But I do know that he should have came back out in the ninth inning.
Yeah, I can understand Dave Roberts, wanting to put Jansen in to kind of give him some more confidence. I know he's been struggling a lot, especially in the regular season and also in the postseason. So I can see maybe wanting to try to give him some confidence. But, I mean, I don't know. This game is more analytically driven now, that no matter who's coming up or who's in the bullpen, managers are playing the numbers, or are trying to play the odds. And, I mean, that may have been the case in Roberts putting Jansen in because maybe he favored the better matchup. But we don't know. I mean, we don't know for sure. But, like you said, Gratterall should have probably stayed in, finished out the ninth. And then instead of the series being tied 2-2, Dodgers could be up 3-1 going into Game 5.
Now, something I wanted to bring up. So the day after that happened, so I usually do a lot of I do a lot of research on things that have happened during the game. I go on Twitter, see what people are saying, see what the reporters are saying. I go through The Athletic and I read their stuff on the game. And I read the reporters through the Bleacher Report and all that good stuff. I came across something that was extremely disturbing. I'm not sure if you saw the post that I made, but Kenley Jensen was on his Instagram was attacked, called racial slurs. His family was threatened, being his wife, his kids, because of what happened in Game 4.
Yeah. No, I did see that, and that's uncalled for, to be quite honest. I don't know what possesses people to come out and attack an athlete like that who plays a game of chance, really. You've got a pitcher that makes a good pitch, and you've got a batter that makes a good swing and connects. Unfortunately, baseballs take a bad bounce. There's all sorts of scenarios that can happen from when the pitch is thrown to when the ball is hit. And people feel the need to attack, and it's uncalled for, especially in a world right now where there is a lot of social injustice going on. And you can't do that. It's very hurtful, and I feel bad for Kenley Jansen and his family. And I have to go through this because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's baseball. It's a game that, yes, they get paid for, and yes, they are professionals, but, they're also human and they have feelings. And that should have, I just, it doesn't sit well with me.
There's literally no room for it. There's no, anybody who was pissed off at the fact that the Dodgers lost, you don't take it out on, you could say things like, oh, you suck, I wish you weren't on my team, or something like that. But you don't go and call somebody a racial slur. You don't go and threaten their family. It's just uncalled for. And after the Dodgers ended up winning, I didn't realize this, but I follow Kenley Jensen, and I'm sure the guy's not going to see what I had said to him. But I congratulated him, and I said, after all the things that you and Kershaw have been through, I'm happy for you guys that you finally got that monkey off your back, and keep doing your thing.
Absolutely.
It's literally like the encouraging things. You can't just sit there and like, I'm not a Dodgers fan. I mean, I know a little bit about the Dodgers, and I like some of the players on that team, but I'm not going to be like, oh yay, Dodgers. I'm not going to go. My next tattoo is not going to be an LA Dodgers logo. That's.
Yeah, no, I completely agree 100%, and, Kenny wrote in here, who's watching the show right now, from the whole team, you win as a team, you lose as a team. That's exactly right. It's, baseball is a game of, like I said, it's a game of chance. There's mental aspects, physical aspects, whatever you want to call it in baseball. And, to go out and to attack Jensen, it's just uncalled for. And, my response would be, if it was me, like, you know what, you go out and you try to throw a baseball 99 miles an hour. I
had somebody who was telling me one time, I forgot who it was because I really want to give them the credit for it, but could you imagine if after something like that happened, the Dodgers was just like, you know what, screw it, we're going to throw the game. We're going to throw the series and let Tampa win. Screw you.
Wow.
Like, imagine if that happened. I mean, it wouldn't have been the first time it happened, but
right.
I mean, I couldn't see the Dodgers actually doing something like that, but it's still.
After as many chances as they have been to the World Series, I don't think they would want to throw this one. I really don't.
Exactly. But, I mean,
so
they have some young, core talented guys, and I wouldn't be surprised if I saw them in the World Series next year. So, if it's okay with you, I'd like to completely skip Game 5 because I didn't watch it.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. The only issue I had with Game 5 was the fact that Roberts took Kershaw out too early. And I mean, and then
maybe it was an analytical thing. Maybe it wasn't. I heard he was dealing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was. He played a spectacular. He pitched a spectacular game, and I kind of want to wish that he would have stayed in there longer. But Roberts took him out too early. Of course, he got a lot of negative feedback from, of course, the fans and commentators and whatnot, asking why he was out so soon. But that was my only issue with Game 5.
I agree 100%, Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny said it's been so frustrating to be Dodgers fans. Those years coming up and winning the chip, always being the bridesmaid and never the bride. That's exactly right.
I can 100%. I couldn't believe it when they said that Roberts was the third Dodgers manager to win a championship.
That's crazy.
From a team with such a legacy, and I would have figured they were more like towards like 12, 13. So. If you want, we can get into Game 6.
Yeah, let's dive into Game 6 because that's the game that when I mentioned in the open that there was a key mistake, and I think it kind of it's similar to Game 5.
But the key mistake being taking Blake Snell out.
Absolutely.
Did you read his lips?
Oh yeah.
Because I read those lips.
I did.
I think everybody read them lips.
If somebody missed that, then they don't know what was going on or what that situation was, because it was clear as day to what he said.
I believe he did it in the ALCS as well.
He did.
He was like, "What the F are we doing here?"
Yeah.
And then then this time it was like, what the F, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was, and I completely sympathize with him because he was
It was
dealing.
dealing. He had 72 pitches. He had struck out 9 batters. And the only reason I hate this so much when it comes to analytics.
Mhm.
It's, oh, we didn't want him to go through the batters for the third time. It's like, all right, so I got this from somebody off of Twitter because I didn't remember this. The last time that Snell was dealing, right? They ended up taking him out because he let somebody. He gave a base hit up to somebody.
Mhm.
What happened right after that? But a homer was given, a 2-run homer.
Yeah,
So, and it was the exact same reliever.
exactly. 100% to the T, same reliever. Now the result wasn't the same, but they still, I mean, the Dodgers capitalized on that because Kevin Cash took him out too soon. And I hate that. I hate that part of the analytics because you've got a pitcher, and it's the postseason, it's the World Series, Game 6. You're down 3-2. You've got to get to Game 7. You've got a pitcher who's on the mound that's got a low pitch count, has been striking guys out left and right, especially the top of the order. The top of the order could not get anything against Snell. Then you've got a pitcher in Game 7 and Charlie Morton that's ready to go on full rest, who we know how he has performed in closeout and elimination games. Why not leave Snell in? Screw the analytics for once. Go with your gut. Keep him in. And I guarantee you the result probably would have been this different.
The only thing that I could probably agree with is, okay, you guys are up 1-0, which we could talk about that after, but they're up 1-0. Say they end up winning. He takes Blake Snell out. He's only thrown 72 pitches. You know damn well that if they make it to a Game 7, everybody's on board. Because when you're off to get the World Series, when you're off to get that that piece of metal.
Oh, that irritates me.
Oh, did you see what Matt Muncy wrote on his Instagram?
No, I haven't.
Oh, man, he wrote he was like, oh, this is a nice piece of metal. Definitely taking a jab at Manfred. But
did you see how he was acting during the trophy presentation?
He was getting booed.
No, just his overall demeanor. Like he looked like he was drunk.
Oh, yeah. There was talks of like he was either on drugs or he was drunk, and I mean it is Manfred, so.
I heard one person come to his defense saying that maybe his audio in his headphones, his little earpieces, there might have been some. But, we can all make our own assumptions as to what possibly was going on.
It's Rob Manfred. Nobody's going to be on his defense. Exactly. I mean, at least I'm not going to, because I think there's a couple things with Game 6 that I believe MLB completely just didn't they left everybody out of the loop. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Yep. With the whole Justin Turner thing.
That was MLB screwed that up bad.
I just don't the whole thing with Turner, regardless if it was a false positive, false negative, or whatever it was, from my understanding, he had an inconclusive result, which if you have an inconclusive result, there should not be a reason why you're playing.
Right.
Regardless if that's something that happens all the time, which is something I heard, is they've received a lot of inconclusive results. But there's plenty of questions that I have. And one of the biggest questions, and one of the I don't know how to say it, but it's my most important question. There we go. if the guy has been in this bubble
Right.
for 3 weeks, because he's been playing for the Dodgers have been playing at Globe Life Field since the NLDS when they faced off against the Padres. So if he's been there since they had faced the Padres and he's been in this bubble, how did he get COVID?
Exactly.
Did he break protocol? Did he go outside of the hotel? Did he bump into somebody who had what you would call it? Like if they ended up having COVID or something like that. But the biggest, like, okay, so that happened. Then in the 8th inning, he doesn't come out. He ends up being isolated. Now, my biggest problem, and I'll get to this, Kenny, because I just saw what Kenny had said, is they pulled him out. They isolated him. Now, per the Athletic that I was reading with, I believe it was Ken Rosenthal had wrote about it. And either that or he definitely tweeted about it. After the Dodgers ended up winning, he basically said, screw that, I'm going out on the field. Now, I didn't have a problem with the fact that Turner went onto the field to go take the pictures and whatnot. It's a big enough field to where he would have been able to do it socially distanced away from all of those people that were there, because this guy's supposedly tested positive for COVID.
Right.
You have all these players that are on the field, all the Dodgers players. Then you have their family that are on the field as well. Some people with their kids and stuff. So like he's not socially distancing himself. He's holding the commissioner's the World Series trophy, the commissioner's trophy, and he's hugging people. He's kissing his girlfriend or his wife. I'm sorry. And it's just like no mask on. I'm sorry, but I used to really be all for Justin Turner until that happened. It's like I lost a lot of respect for him. I don't hate the guy, and I think that what he did was a mistake. But from my understanding, they're planning on doing an investigation on it, which I don't even understand why they're doing an investigation. He clearly did it right in front of everybody's eyes. So
it's Manfred wanting to do one of his investigations again. He likes to do those.
But it's right. I agree 100%, Kenny. He should have worn his mask.
Yeah, Kenny said.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I 100% agree with you, Kenny. And I got into an argument with not an argument, but disagreements with a few people on Twitter about that. It's like, I don't care, whatever. Mookie Betts came out and said that, forget all that. He's a part of this team, whatever. But what would have happened, say, like, Mookie Betts ended up with COVID-19, and then like something happened to his lungs, hypothetically, this guy, the Dodgers just paid this guy, and they're going to pay them $365 million for the next 12 years. Something happens to him before his actual contract starts. Who do you blame?
Exactly.
But you got to put the blame on MLB. You have to put the blame on the Players Association. You have to put the blame on the Dodgers, and you 100% have to put the blame on Justin Turner.
Oh, 100%. I get the fact that he wants to go out there and celebrate with this team because they just won the World Series, their first World Series in 32 years. I get that. They've been to two World Series. Well, two World Series and lost them both. And he was on both those teams. They lost to the Nationals in 2019 in the division series. So I get he wants to celebrate this. I completely agree. But if you just got tested positive for COVID and your ass is out there on the field trying to spread it to everybody, you either have a suspension coming, a major fine, something that's
Or
going
both.
to, or both, that's going to ruin your World Series, achievements.
Your legacy.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate because 2017 it taints everybody's going to know the Astros as that being the year that the Astros cheated,
right.
and then in 2018, people are going to say the same thing about the Boston Red Sox. With this, it doesn't even have to do with the cheating scandal. They're going to be like, well, why didn't Turner go out on the field with his mask on? And that's unfortunate. And he's a free agent. And he's 36 years old. And if he doesn't get picked up by a team, I don't see him being picked up by any other team but the Dodgers anyways. But just say the Dodgers don't pick him up. He's screwed.
Oh, absolutely. Let's see. Hold on. Kenny wrote in, Turner giving COVID out like he was Oprah. You get COVID, everybody gets COVID.
You get COVID.
You get COVID. Oh my goodness. Jeez. Thank you, Justin Turner, for ruining a good moment for the Dodgers. And
I understand in some ways. Like, I feel for the dude because you just got the news that you got COVID-19, something that's killing millions of people or people around the world, and you get it, and your team just won the World Series, and you want to be a part of it, and you're just like, fuck this, I'm going out in the field. I don't care about isolating myself. And that's the biggest problem that I find out of this, that I have with this, is that he was isolating himself, and he agreed to it.
Yeah. And then he goes and completely ignores all the MLB protocols, and he goes out there. Now, imagine this. Imagine if the Dodgers had not won Game 6, and the series goes to Game 7. What's going to happen now?
So I actually was reading about that. So say, like Game 6, he ends up with COVID and whatnot. So the protocol during the season was going to be, it would have been that you'd postpone the games. While Manfred was saying that they would have had to have played it by ear.
Jeez.
I mean, it is the World Series and this, that, and the other thing. And, you've got Manfred only really cares about lining his pockets.
Oh, absolutely.
And exactly. So if the World Series isn't being played, he's not making the money for the league. So Fox gets the rights to broadcasting the World Series, and they pay tons of money for that.
Yep.
And if you're not playing the World Series, you're not getting paid.
No money. The money is not shown to you. But it's very interesting. If we would be sitting here talking right now during Game 7, well, maybe we probably wouldn't, because if they probably would have postponed it, until they got all negative tests back from the players, and they're.
So I was reading earlier today. I think it was Bob Nightingale. He had posted up on his Twitter that all the players for the Dodgers had came back negative, so they're heading back to LA with the trophy. Now, the other thing that really sucks about this year, this baseball season, is the fact that, okay, the Dodgers won and whatnot. They haven't won in, was it 32 or 33?
32.
They won in 88 was the last one, right?
Yeah. That was the Kirk Gibson.
The Bob Gibson. Yeah, Kurt Gibson.
Kirk Gibson.
Yeah, he ended up hitting them. It was the
Yeah, the as you was running second. Yeah.
Yeah. So they ended up making it out there, and well, now they don't know when they're going to have their parade.
Jeez.
Well, you got to think about it, dude. With everything that's going on with 2020, you got COVID going on, and you have to think like they have to. I mean, even though they didn't with Justin Turner, they have to think safely for everybody involved.
Yeah, right. No, I completely agree. It's one of those things. Do they skip the parade until it's safe, or
Well, that's what they were talking about. It's like they're going to do it when it's safe to do so.
okay? I mean, I would think the only other option would be to do it virtually, which that would be a nightmare, probably.
That would suck. I mean, like, Kenny, answer if you're still on. Let me know. How do the Lakers plan on doing their parade?
Actually, he just wrote in. It's going to be a huge. Wouldn't surprise me if they join the Lakers to make one massive parade later in the future. Oh, that's an interesting.
Yeah, so that would definitely be interesting.
Yeah. So, but man, it's just crazy. I mean, given everything that has gone on in 2020, especially when we go back to spring training, everything was shut down. That mid-March. And then you go 5 months without baseball, and then we don't know if there's going to be baseball in between that time. And then all of a sudden, 60 games, this is what's going to happen. And we get it going. And then it comes down to the very last game, and COVID comes into play. And there's the possibility, if they don't win, what's going to happen after that. I know there was the COVID issues there at the beginning of the season between the Cardinals and the Marlins and whatnot, but they've got all that, sorted out. And then after that, there were no negative tests. I think there was some 30,000 or something tests that they did. I don't remember the number offhand, but
I don't remember the numbers, but how many they did. But I know before last night, they went 57 days without a positive case.
57 days, and then all of a sudden, boom! There's a positive test in the middle of Game 6 of the World Series.
Like,
Jeez.
Part of me, in one sense, it's like, well, damn, dude, that sucks. And then the other part of me is like, how did he get COVID? Like,
Exactly.
There's questions that I need answered. It's like, like Justin Turner doesn't seem like he's that type of guy, well, before last night, that he would be that type of guy to just go break the rules and go like outside the bubble and whatnot. I know that I follow him and his wife on Twitter, and I know that she had to follow the rules of the bubble as well.
Right.
So it's like, well, what happened? Who did it? How did he get it? Like, who gave it to him? Was it a hoax? There's questions.
Well,
it was a little odd, in my opinion, that they took him out after the Dodgers ended up winning getting the lead. And the other thing that I find odd is I wish I'd taken the notes, but I believe the test came back positive in the second inning. So if that's the case, go ahead.
So because I missed that part. So the test comes back in the second inning. That's positive, and he's still in the game until the 8th inning.
So I believe that's what I read.
Justin? MLB, you really screwed up. Oh my goodness.
If that's the case, then yeah.
I think he was out there for 6 innings. Why have protocols in place if you're not going to follow them? That's my question to Manfred. If he watches this show, answer me that question. Or listen.
Manfred doesn't watch baseball. I can only imagine if he's actually going to watch this. Manfred, if you are watching this, go fuck yourself.
And resign it, and I'll be more than happy to take your job.
Jesus, anybody could take his job. The guy's a clown. I don't know. I read it somewhere. I'm not sure where, but I know that I read that it came in the second inning.
Okay.
I'll have to do more research. Sorry, I didn't keep it and whatnot.
No, I wish I had no idea that was the case. I heard about it during. No, it was after the broadcast, after the game that's what happened. It was in the 8th inning when he got taken out, but I didn't hear anything after that. So that's interesting that it was the 2nd inning and yet he was still in the game and none of the Major League Baseball protocols were enforced. That's just
and that's literally like my biggest gripe with this whole thing. And the biggest gripe actually is the fact that Turner went back on the field and he took a picture. He had his mask on. He ripped it off. He was sitting next to Dave Roberts, who's an who's a cancer patient. He had cancer a few years ago, and he's one of the people that are like at the biggest risk. And it's selfish, in my opinion. And that's coming from somebody who absolutely loves Justin Turner.
It really is. I mean, it's frustrating. I mean, it's like, you want to take him and just, knock him out and say, what was your thinking? Why did you do this? I mean, if anybody does in either the Dodgers organization or the Tampa Bay Ray organization comes down with COVID, they're going to instantly look to him as the culprit as to infecting them. And there's going to be, and you know what? I mean, there's going to be some pissed off people.
Oh yeah. So I saw a funny thing today, and it had to do with Justin Turner's COVID situation. It said that Justin Turner ended up giving Kevin Cash COVID, and that made him lose his sense of smell.
Oh my goodness. Oh, wow.
He lost his sense of smell. And I was like, oh my God, this ends up winning the internet for the day.
Oh man, that is hilarious. Ah, oh, geez. Thank you, internet, for coming up with the win on that one. But
yeah, that would definitely won the internet for the day. So I don't know about you, but I don't want to stay negative on the whole like World Series and whatnot.
No, but I do have a question for you. So
go ahead.
So since David Price opted out before the
no,
season
he does
started,
not get a ring.
He does not get a. Okay, that was my question. Does he or does he not get a ring?
If he gets a ring, I'm going to be pissed. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm one of like very few Red Sox fans that actually liked Price. But he didn't pitch one inning for the season. He decided to opt out. He didn't play. He didn't come back for the second part of the summer training, spring training, whatever. He didn't come for that. He ended up opting out. That's on him. That's his decision. I don't believe that he should get a ring. And if he does get a ring, I know that I'm going to be pissed. And a lot of Dodgers fans are going to be pissed.
Yeah, I was listening to MLB Network, and he was actually a guest on their show, and they, were talking about how the Dodgers season went. Mookie Betts and his ability to be so in tune to the game and his quick instincts to compete at such a high level. And then at the end of that interview, after he had already signed off or whatever, he left the interview. They said, David Price World Series, he gets a World Series ring, and that didn't strike a very good chord with me because, like you said, I mean, he opted out. He didn't play, and he's not. I mean, yeah, he's on the 40-man roster, but I don't think since you didn't partake in the World Series, you should not get a World Series ring.
It's not that he didn't partake in the World Series. He didn't partake in any of the season.
Right.
So that's my biggest gripe.
Kenny made a good comment here. Hell no, he better not get a ring. He didn't even show up for a practice. Ball boy better get one before he does. Absolutely.
Ball boy, bat boy.
Anybody.
What's weird though? It's so weird seeing Magic Johnson talking about how he's going to get a World Series ring.
That's crazy. And he's
He
one of the owners.
Yeah, he's got 10 with the Lakers. He's got one with the Los Angeles Sparks, and then now he's got one with the Dodgers. How crazy is that?
Wow. Why is that? Start wearing them on his toes.
He's probably going to have a chain.
Right? Oh, geez. I mean, but hey, imagine if they won a couple years ago.
Say 2017.
Yeah, we can say that. I mean, he would have definitely a couple more to add to his collection of basketball rings. But that's awesome for Magic Johnson to get an athlete who was so dominant in basketball, but he gets a ring for baseball.
Yeah, it's just it's weird. It's weird. I mean, I grew up watching Magic. I grew up watching Jordan, Bird, all those guys, and just now seeing him, like, he doesn't look like he aged.
No, he looks exactly the same.
Yeah,
it's same with Michael Jordan too. I mean,
I bet you Michael Jordan can go out on that court and school half these kids that are playing right now.
Oh yeah. No, without a doubt. He's still got it. He probably could still play if he wanted to.
And to anybody out there who thinks that LeBron James is the GOAT, you can go screw yourself. Back to baseball.
Back to baseball. Back to baseball.
So, we've got the off season, bro.
Yes, we have fulfilled a 2020 baseball season, and now the off season has got underway very rapidly. We've got players that have been non-tendered, or what is it? What do they call it? I just had it.
Their options have not been picked up.
Yeah, the options have been declined. So we have a lot of those that have been happening. Still no. Do you know when the player options are?
I think it's 5 days.
So 5 days after the World Series?
I believe it's 5 days after the World Series.
Okay, so we'll have some player options here coming in next couple of days, which is going to be interesting to see.
There's one player that I know is not going to opt out, and that's JD Martinez. He had such a horrible year this year, and it's said that the National League is not going to take on the designated hitter, and so that limits his role or his chances for teams that would be interested in him. So I do not see JD Martinez opting out.
I was really hoping that there would be a universal DH in 2021 because I think it would be great, to be quite honest.
I think that ends up screwing people like Ozuna. I would totally love to have his bat, but I do not want him on the field. He's kind of like JD Martinez, in my opinion. Like, great bat, just not a great defender.
So you would be for having the universal DH then?
100%. We talked about this. I believe we talked about that last week or the week before, but I said that the one thing out of 2020 that I wish that they would keep is the universal DH.
Yes. That I would like that to stay. The runner on second in extra innings, that shit needs to go.
Absolutely. I was not a fan of that. The other thing that I don't like, that I can get over, is the 3-batter minimum for pitchers. I can get over that. And when you get to the runner on second base, I can see that benefiting if you get to like the 12th inning. All right, you've already given them chances to, score. Now you've gotten to like the 11th or the 12th inning. All right, let's put somebody in second, and we're going to end up, getting this game over with.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. That needs to go. I wasn't a fan from the start. So that can definitely go. That the 3 batter rule. It kind of changes the strategy of the game.
It changes the strategy of changes the pitching strategy, because then now you can't go lefty lefty righty righty. It's like, okay, so if you go lefty, if you bring in a left-handed pitcher, they have a lefty batter. Their next 2 batters can be righties.
Right. Yeah.
So
it definitely brings a new dynamic to the game, which I think is much needed. Baseball is such a game of, like I mentioned earlier, it's a game of strategy, and to kind of add a new dynamic, a new twist, kind of gives it a little bit more spunk, a little bit more life. It's not the same old, okay, well, let's take this guy out, put this guy in, take this guy out, batter after batter, and you've got an hour-long half inning. I get, baseball is trying to speed up the game, which I get that, but still, I can sit there for 4 hours and watch a baseball game.
Yeah, the problem is they're trying to, what is it? They're trying to get they're trying to get kids involved in it. They want a younger crowd in this, and it's like making it faster or making it less or whatever, less innings or whatever, isn't going to interest these kids. They're only going to be interested as long as you have those big names in there. You have the Tatis, you have the Acuñas, you have the Kershaws, the Mookie Betts, the Mike Trouts. You got to have that big name. And
right.
if you have these teams that, like, look at Tampa Bay, they're not knocking Tampa Bay per se, but Tampa Bay has these nobodies. Well, now someone like Randy Arozarena, I bet you next year that guy's jersey is going to be like up in the top, like I would guarantee the top 20 most sold jerseys.
Yeah, he was dominant this postseason. Had the most home runs in the World Series. Well, no, it's the most home runs in the postseason.
And one postseason, he had 10 home runs this postseason.
That's amazing. And given that he was a guy that was in St. Louis last year and that they really didn't have any high hopes for, so Tampa Bay picked him up, and look where he's at now.
Right, and so on the Nest podcast, right? Mm-hmm. Zach is a Cardinals fan, and I've kind of been rubbing it in his face. Like, how do you feel? Like he's like, it's kind of like it's almost the equivalence of Mookie Betts.
Yeah. Oh man, there was something I was going to ask you too, and I lost it, and it kind of.
Tell me it had to do with Mookie Betts.
No, it wasn't about Mookie Betts, but I had something.
Because I would have cut out.
Peace out. I'm out of here. But no,
basically.
Man, what was it? I don't remember what it was, but there was something I was going to ask you, and I don't know if it had to do. It was something we were talking about just a few minutes ago, and I had it, and I should have wrote it down, but I didn't. It'll come to me after we're off air, but
right.
or
Quick, go back on.
Wait, hold on. It's 3:00 in the morning. I remember it now. No, I'm not gonna do that though. But yeah. Jeez, what was it? We were talking about the off season. We were talking about
the off season. Then we talked about Randy Rosarena's jersey probably being in the top 20 or whatever, most sold jerseys.
Shit, that's gonna bug me now because it was good too, and I didn't write it down.
It must not have been that important.
I guess not. But let me ask you this: what was your overall thoughts? Take, thank you. Your overall take on the World Series.
On the World Series, so I thought it was a good World Series. I'm glad that it at least went six games. I was really hoping that it would go seven. You had the two top one seeds. You had the top one seeds from each league, and I think that for the year 2020, every fan out there, every baseball fan out there deserves 7 games. But because it's 2020, we all know that we weren't going to get 7 games. But I think the best team won. I believe that Tampa Bay is a force to be reckoned with. I also believe that now that Tampa Bay has shown what they can do with a $72 million payroll, there are going to be more teams out there that are going to be analytically driven. I've already been reading about how the New York Yankees are talking about cutting payroll, which it's the New York Yankees, and it's slightly laughable to hear that they're doing that. But I know that Steinbrenner had lost a lot of money this year. So it could all be bullshit. It could be all publicity or whatever, just getting people to try to pay attention to them. But they have a big off season this year. They need to pick up their second baseman, DJ LeMahieu. So I believe that the World Series was good for what it was. And I'm glad that the Dodgers won. I would have been glad if the Tampa Bay Rays won, but good for Mookie Betts, good for Joe Kelly. And I really want to congratulate like Clayton Kershaw and Kenley Jensen for getting the monkey off their backs, and Dave Roberts because he's got another year as manager.
I think so. It was great it was a great World Series. It really was. I know it might have not been the most. I know the numbers were kind of down as far as viewers. I'm sure everybody wanted that Astros Dodgers 2.0. But I still believe the Dodgers would have beat them. Oh yeah, no, I completely agree 100%. The Astros were not 100% in the way of bullpen and offense, and they had the yips and whatnot. So, but looking back at it now, this World Series, had the two best teams in baseball go at it. The Dodgers came out, they finally got the monkey off their back and won a World Series after 32 years. And I have to give Dave Roberts a lot of praise, because when he gave that speech when they were receiving the trophy, said, to Kershaw, I'm happy for you. And then he came right out and said, Kenley Jansen, thank you. I'm happy for you. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but he acknowledged Kenley Jansen because he knew that he struggled in that Game 4 and probably wasn't taking it too well. And to come out on the greatest stage in Major League Baseball and to give him 100% praise had to do wonders for Kenley Jansen, and I have to give Dave Roberts props for that.
Yeah, I mean, this is now, I believe, Dave Roberts' second ring he'll be getting. He received a ring for the 2004 World Series with the Boston Red Sox, so he got that ring as a player, and now he's finally going to get that ring as a manager. Now, the thing that I find weird about, remember how I said that he's the third manager for the Dodgers to win the World Series? Joe Torre was the manager for the Dodgers for a little while. So that's strange to hear.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever went to the postseason while he was a manager.
I'm not sure either, but I know that it went Torre, then it went Mattingly, and then it went Roberts.
Right. And then Roberts is in a class with Tommy Lasorda, who won the World Series back in 1988. And who was the past manager of the Dodgers?
You're going to make me have to do the research.
No, I'm looking at it too as we're talking. That won the World Series. It was Walter Alston. Alston, I think, is winning the World Series.
Here I am Googling Dodgers managers who have won, and Google's like the Super Bowl. What? There's a Dodgers in football?
That was probably the Giants. Let's see. I know it was in the 50s. It was right after they had moved from New York. Yeah. Walter Alston. Alston.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah. That was back, when they
That
moved.
guy, he was the manager for 22 years.
Yep. And then Tommy Lasorda comes in.
And he was the manager for 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
Holy shit. Grady Little was the manager.
For a season. Joe Torre was for 2. I forget. Yeah,
No, Torre was for. So you got to do it. It's 2008, 2009, 2010.
Okay. So for 3 years.
So
okay.
that would be 3 years, right?
Yeah. Wow.
That's crazy.
3 managers in the history of the Los Angeles Dodgers and even the Brooklyn Dodgers back in the 50s.
Eh?
Three managers have managed to take the Dodgers to a World Series and win a championship.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Well, man, it's been a great show.
Hey, bro. I appreciate you having me on here. So I'm going to do a little plug, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
So this weekend on Halloween, I have you coming on to my show, The Swizzle Show. We're going to talk more about the off season, what we predict to see happening, and we'll probably even bring up some World Series stuff, and we'll see. I kind of want to talk about the managerial positions that are opened. You've got my team, the Boston Red Sox, who Alex Cora seems to be the number one person that they're going after. And then you got the Detroit Tigers and the Chicago White Sox. So we'll be talking about that, and we're going to be doing that Saturday, and I'm going to try and get that out. I'll try and get that out Sunday.
Okay.
Maybe sooner, maybe later. I'm not 100% sure. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter. My handle is BRSBaseball83. Oh, and I want to thank you for the tons of retweets and whatnot for the World Series championship hat.
Yes.
We ended up contacting a winner this morning. But he hasn't responded. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to just be like, screw you all, I'm keeping my money, or if I'm going to go ahead and name somebody else. I'm going to give the kid, I don't know if it's a kid, but I'm going to give the person at least until Sunday to hear something. I know he's read it, and it's a little disappointing that he didn't respond to it, but
jeez.
What I wanted to do was what I should have done, actually, is I should have picked a winner live on your show to show that I actually did, do something. But I'll send you a screenshot to show you that I actually contacted this person saying, hey, you won. So, but I didn't get a response back. And anybody who doesn't want to, I think the hat ended up costing $45 because I bought one for myself this morning. I woke up at 4:30 and I bought myself a Dodgers 2020 World Series championship hat because I collect hats. So
I'm
not wearing one.
I'm the same way. I'm a hat collector, and God bless my wife. She lets me have these hats. understands, and she doesn't say anything. She lets me collect my hats. So definitely got to give my props to her. But
Yeah, I'm the same way with my girlfriend. My girlfriend, I literally have here. I'll show you. Those 4 totes right there are filled with hats. 5. Sorry.
wow, I definitely have some work to do to catch up to. But I'm probably going to go ahead and purchase a World Series hat as well. But I'm particular on my hats, so I may wait for their Gold Series hat to come out that they wear on opening day in 2021.
Yep.
To showcase the championship.
I'll probably end up getting that one as well.
I don't know. I kind of like having the what they're wearing on the field. I don't know. I may be weird, but hey, I'm particular about my hats. So, but man, it's been great having you on the show. It's been a lot of fun. I'm glad we were able to get through a season of baseball. 60 games from now, we had baseball. We had a postseason. We've got a World Series champion in the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm happy.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely happy. It was 102 games less than normal, but I would rather take a 60 game season than a 0 game season.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's been great having you on. It's been great talking baseball. And I'll talk to you on Saturday for your show, the Swizzle Show. And we will be talking some off-season baseball, which is going to be exciting. So can't wait to do it. It's going to be fun. But I think that's going to do it for this episode.
All right, man.
So I definitely appreciate you coming on.
Anytime, every week. We should do some more like a co-host type thing in the future. Like basically what we've been doing. So
absolutely,
we'll talk more about that.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that off air for sure. But like I said, man, appreciate you coming on. It's been a great baseball season, and congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers for finally getting over the hump and winning a World Series for the first time in 32 years. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. I appreciate you listening to the show, watching the show. Remember, you can catch the show on all the major podcast platforms: Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube. You can rewatch the show in its entirety or listen to the show, whichever you choose. But in the meantime, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you guys soon.